So I'm Daniel. I have a background in organization design, been roughly for a decade doing future of work, human collaboration things. Started my early career as a chef, realized all my culinary heroes who had been super creative had become depressed, alcoholic, no longer creative, and were surrounded by young, passionate people full of ideas that no one listened to. And so that put me in that career path that I've been doing for about the last decade. Got into Web3 around 2018, etc. By 2021, I was head of governance at Aragon, and then left at the end of 2021 to start RnDAO with a few other folks. And anyway, now we're building all of this stuff together.
Hi, I'll give you a quick background on me. So I'm a disillusioned digital marketing strategist, having burnt my way through myself through Web 1, Web 2, and the beginning of Web 3. And looking for a way to redeem myself, basically, by building tools to help people never have to go through the career that I had to. And so building tools to help people swarm and work together is exactly what I'm enjoying doing at the moment. So that's me.
Awesome. Lovely having you here. And Artem, did you figure out your voice?
I don't know. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Hi guys, my name is Artem, and yeah, I joined RnDAO not that long ago. I think it was in June. After I started building my startup, which is called Harmonica, and it's a large language model used to help people make decisions or deliberate. Sorry, we don't build the actual language model. We're using GPT. We're using it to, you know, in connection together with Discord API to, yeah, facilitate deliberation sessions and so on. Yeah, and before that, I used to be responsible for governance of a small DAO, well, or should I say tokenized community called Protein. And before that, I wrote my master's dissertation about governance in cooperatives and DAOs, and I got really, really fascinated with the idea of commons, and I'm hoping that Harmonica and AI-powered governance will help us build more commons and more public goods in the global economy. That's my personal mission.
Awesome. Just listening to you here under so much perfect space, and we really need you. But before going into topics, Fly, Tom, Pete, would you like to give a short intro on yourself as well, if you wouldn't mind?
Let's not skip on you as well, Felix, but sure. Peter Elfrink from the Netherlands, work for SingularityNET Foundation since 2.5 years almost now. Studied psychology with a bit of marketing, a bit of, well, all over the place, to be honest. Spent 9 years doing that, touching on all kind of topics I thought interesting at the time. Main one being volunteer management. Also did that in practice for years. And yeah, so from foundation side, I picked up the task of starting the ambassador program, and yeah, here we are.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Fly.
Go ahead, Fly. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I'm Fly. I am a clown for many years, and some years ago I started exploring how to enable business, to enable innovation with the art of imagination. So bringing this clown, looking at in kind of quantum format, seeing how to drive innovation, both in terms of interpersonal collaboration, soft skills, and imagination. Yeah.
Well, I have to use my imagination to figure out how to describe myself. I'm the old man in the room. Had science training as an undergraduate, went into the financial world and retired out of that at 47. Out of New York City, made land and moved way upstate New York and became a farmer, growing grapes and blueberries and apples to make hard liquor. And got into crypto, got funded in Catalyst for risk management, educational platform for seniors, and met Ben and Desmona and decided to come over to the dark side here and figure out what we're going to do for the next few years of everybody's life as beneficial AGI develops. Welcome, welcome.
So, thanks a lot, everybody. Quickly to myself, I'm Felix. I'm a blockchain cypherpunk, but a kind one. And mostly really looking on, building up community infrastructure and governance, mostly as really bottom up. Mostly over the last 3 years in Cardano. I'm a Cardano ambassador as well, created several projects and communities over the last years, and joined heavily SingularityNET early last year when the ambassadors program started to kick off and deep funding. And since then, helped a lot there to build things up. And I see myself a little bit like a community gardener, making sure that everybody has what they need when they need. And to this call here, a short introduction, because RnDAO, you just joined SingularityNET in this regard, and let me give you a brief introduction on how it is set up right now. Like Pete mentioned already, the Ambassadors program was initiated early last year. We started with some very few folks. We have been 3, 4, 5 in the beginning, and said, oh, okay, how do we set up the whole thing? And then started to build up some first processes, tools, and structures over the last year. And came to a point where I said, hey, okay, let's really reshape the Ambassadors program in a way that we don't want to use the same design as usually founding entities do with the ambassador programs, which is usually quite top down. You have the founding entities, they elect ambassadors, they decide everything. So from our side, was really the vision to say how we build a fully distributed ambassadors program, which over time emerged into a bunch of amazing people joining and engaging and building up their own projects within the program, which you can see right now, which is actually mapped as, you can see it a little bit like a planetary or cellular-based system. So we have several guilds and workgroups. They are all created by community members themselves, stepping up, taking initiative, and saying, hey, I'm really good at marketing. I create a marketing guild. And now one says, I'm really good in strategy. I create a strategy guild. And the main idea is that all of these guilds and workgroups govern themselves, and that we don't have one central entity deciding what all these bodies should do, which you can imagine creates a lot of chaos sometimes, and overhead and complexity. And one of the latest projects then was that we said, oh, okay, let's spin up a governance workgroup, because once everything starts to evolve, we need also some capacity figuring out, oh, okay, which structures can actually effectively work. And then we saw, oh, SingularityNET community is already pretty small when you look on the active builders and developers. And the folks who are enthusiastic and experienced in governance is even smaller. So we have some massive lack of people who have already experience and expertise on governance topics, especially in regard to DLT space. We have very few resources available, so we don't have any real developer teams right now. And I'm really, really happy meeting the guys from RnDAO, because you have amazing good experience and expertise. You have a really beautiful spirit and mind. And thanks a lot, Daniel, for bringing some folks in and joining SingularityNET. have also some really nice proposals in Deep Funding Round 3. And one main idea to invite you into this call as well was to see, hey, how can we ideally help each other? In regard to say, oh, okay, we want to build governance structures for the Ambassadors program, and not only for the Ambassadors program, also for SingularityNET Foundation announced early this year their move towards becoming a DAO. Singularity Foundation is right now a foundation based in the Netherlands. And they want to move over in what was introduced as SeedCom DAO, very first, a SeedCom DAO, which later ideally evolves into a DAO, so that the whole SingularityNET Foundation really vanishes away as we know it right now, and becomes a fully distributed, decentralized organism then. And everybody's well aware this is not done in a week, this won't be done in months, this might be a multiple-year process. And through the establishment also of the governance workgroup, the biggest intent and purpose is really having a common ground to introduce and onboard people to all topics governance at SingularityNET, and to make sure that we build up capacity to handle all the beautiful topics and challenges and rabbit holes which we will face along the way. That's for it so far. And one thing what I would love to discuss, because RnDAO, you have built some quite awesome, beautiful tools, platforms already in the past. What I think could be really interesting for us maybe to start to have a look in already, and ideally maybe to play around. And if you guys maybe would like to introduce a little bit what you're up to, and because you work on exactly this, right? Governance, networks, communities, ecosystems.
So, well, okay, so to give you a quick overview, and thank you guys, very, very lovely to meet you, by the way, and thank you, Felix, for the introduction and also helping us bring us together so quickly. So the way we operate is we help teams gather around a specific challenge of human collaboration that they are interested in, dive deep into that challenge, publish publicly what they have learned from the research, and then start building a venture if there is a good opportunity to build a tool that is needed that can have a sustainable business model, or at least we hope we might figure out a way to do that. The idea with these different tools is that they can aggregate to a composable product ecosystem, because we're seeing that one of the biggest challenges that we have right now is we are either coming from monolithic software solutions, like the sort of SAP ERP software that has a million different pieces and you need to implement everything and it's super hard to do. And we'll never get corporations to do those migrations into very forward-thinking tools that operate a little bit differently. That never happens, or it's extremely difficult to get those transitions to happen. Then if we get new organizations to use them, there is still the challenge that you're a jack of all trades, master of none. So you will always have one module or one functionality, etc., that is not quite good or not quite the way you want. And we're seeing a consumerization of B2B software. Like historically, it was a finance director who would decide what tool the workers use. And now increasingly the workers get to decide, or otherwise they will leave to another organization where the tools suck less. And when the workers get to decide, it's every team who gets to decide as well. Everyone wants something that is fit to their specific needs and preferences. So the variety of needs, the variety of requirements is just increasing. So these big tools that try to do everything, we believe are not fit for the future, for where we're going. Even for the present, they're already struggling. On the other side, you would have lone startups that are trying to do one thing and they will find one niche. And in Web3, we have had a lot of these, and we talk a lot about modularity and composability, but we're now at a stage where there is a lot of modularity and composability if you're a really good Solidity dev with enough free time to integrate 5 of these tools. But if you're not this person, for everyone else, there is no modularity and composability. It's a whole bunch of abstract stuff that you don't know how to piece together. And it's very, very tricky to actually make it work with good UX that someone who's a non-developer, someone who's not an expert in this space can actually learn how to use and operate. So what we're proposing is a third way that is not big corporations operating systems top down and telling and making stuff like the perfectly mediocre average of every functionality, but aggregating a lot of functionalities, nor lone startups that only serve a niche, but that don't really interconnect and interoperate with everything else, but rather a middle way where we can create a network of tools that have some degree of cross ownership between them so that they're incentivized to collaborate. And so we can create the incentives for these interoperability, both in the front end layer as well as the back end layer. So every team that needs these solutions can then mix and match what they want, use the modules that they need, configure their own work processes, but all of that can be done no code with very easy integrations, with a lot of personalization, and also the tools themselves can operate at scale. So that can give enough numbers so that we don't need to charge a fortune to every team, but actually we can have very accessible prices. And we're making these tools sustainable thanks to servicing many different teams that can use that specific module. At the same time, the idea is not necessarily to build a bunch of unicorns, but to build good businesses that are sustainable, that are thriving, that are value aligned, that are part of building this bigger mission together. So we've been in that journey for about a year and a half. We have, at the moment, 5 ventures that we're focusing on. We also been doing a little bit of advisory on the side because we recognize very much that the tools themselves are not enough. People also need the human support to understand how to operate in these new ways, to facilitate, to orchestrate, to train, to develop capabilities, et cetera, but we haven't fully developed our service offering. Is something that we kind of had in mind, and also something that brings me interest in this collaboration is might be a way to partner there and to bring offerings to multiple ecosystems with whom we have networks and contacts, and we know they need solutions, and we're not quite positioned to do it. At the same time, when you're doing the services, the operation, et cetera, you will learn a lot of things about what is needed in the ground. What are the missing pieces? What are the functionalities that are lacking? And we can bring those back to the venture so we can incubate new possibilities, so we can use these relationships to get feedback, to get iteration, to get insights, and essentially close the feedback loop in between users and builders and build better things together. So as I was saying, we have 5 ventures at this stage. There are 2 who are in production, who you could go to the website and download and use. One of them is freemium, the other one is free for now, but then we're getting different contracts for, let's say, larger communities or different grants to develop more of the tool, and it will evolve at some point into a SaaS solution. Then we have Artem's tool, Harmonica, which is in a sort of POC stage, so you could use it. Maybe he can give us a demo. I unfortunately need to leave in 7 minutes as I have another meeting, but maybe Artem after that can give us a quick demo. And in the meantime, awesome. And in the meantime, I can show you the other 2 that are ready. And then there is another 2 free who are a little bit further behind in the pipeline, who are following the steps of the first one we built. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I can give you a quick demo of 2, and then Artem can show the third one.
Definitely. Let's go for it.
So let me share screen. So I'm going to show you maybe first Meet with Wallet. So Meet with Wallet is already available. This already has a business model. So you can, it's a freemium service. So you can use it for free. And at the basic, it's a web-free Calendly. That is, however, privacy preserving. So you can schedule meetings with someone and they won't get your email address. Then we're now starting to evolve the tool to also include more functionality focused on fluid team scheduling. So we know that different teams in these DAOs, they operate across multiple time zones, they have multiple organizations each of them belong to. They don't necessarily trust each other as much because they don't know each other as much to be like, hey, let me share my whole calendar with you. But they still need to organize meeting. And the time it takes to be able to have a conversation is a very significant drag in the productivity of these teams. So we have more recently created a bot that integrates with Discord. You can deploy it in your Discord server. This is in testing stages, but I can already give you a demo. So let's say, for example, I want to schedule a meeting and I'm going to schedule it with Chris. You're seeing my screen, right? The Discord? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
And let's schedule 30 minutes. And that's it. The bot is going to think for maybe a few seconds, finding the next slot when the two of us are available. Or it could be the three of us, the four of us, five of us. The only condition is that they need to have it. Okay, yeah, so it's scheduled. So now we have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. And if I can go here in my calendar, there you go. There it is. So we're now, Chris, I'm gonna delete this. Thanks for serving as the guinea pig for the demo. But anyway, and you can do it with groups. We'll increasingly move a little bit more in the territory of Lettuce Meet that allows different functionalities with more complex booking, etc. But ultimately what Meet with Wallet is about is realizing that time is precious and we have spent a lot of energy coordinating money and definitely not enough energy coordinating time. So we're trying to redress that. Then any questions or comments about this? If not, I'll go to show you the next one.
Just because they meet with wallets
Yeah.
in this regard means what?
So it started like very focused Web3 very strongly. In the near future, we're going to replace the forced login with wallets. And the idea is to enable login with whatever you want. So you could log in with Google or Discord ID or any identifier that you want, and just giving more flexibility to users. So that's another module that is being developed for Together Crew at the moment, because we have those requirements. But following this collaboration spirit is a feature that is developed in one tool, but can serve in the others. So we're then gonna, once it's up and ready, we're gonna migrate it as well to Meet with Wallet. Then I'll show you from here. So then this is the other tool that I was talking about is Together Crew. And Together Crew started as a community analytics tool. So let me show you. It gathers data. At the moment, it gathers data from Discord. This is the main infrastructure for a lot of the proposals that we put in SingularityNET. So it gathers data from Discord. We're in the process of finalizing the Twitter data pipeline. So you can also analyze a Twitter community. Optimism gave us a grant to integrate Discourse. We're integrating Snapshot thanks to Pocket Network, who gave us a grant to do that, plus add a few other functionalities, etc. And from all of these data pipelines, this goes to a database where we can then run different algorithms. So the main thing that we do is we analyze interactions between people, because we realize that the issue with a lot of community community dashboards is that they're measuring activity. They are essentially measuring how noisy the community is. And this is not a good metric for anything. A community can get really noisy when there is a lot of conflict, or it can get really noisy when there is a lot of healthy activity. So, and it doesn't really tell us the difference. So instead of that, we focus on relationships. Thanks to Katerina, or Khalid in this venture. She's got a PhD in organization network mapping and team performance. So she helps us construct these network maps of how people are relating to each other. And thanks to these, we can calculate all kind of number of things. So for example, we know God with Us, who's a relatively new contributor. So they have had less than 10 interactions recently with other members. They have actually only been interacting with Flow Science, who is themselves not that engaged. You can see they're a small dot. The big dots have more interactions. The small dots have less interactions. Also, Flow Science is a little bit in the periphery, like they're engaged with two other members, but God with Us is only engaged with Flow Science. And also, God with Us is a frequent receiver, so they're not sending a lot of messages. What this means is that God with Us is at a very, very high risk of disengaging. They're not very connected with the community. They're not very engaged. A good way to get them to engage more would be to connect God with Us with someone else. But to whom should you connect them? If you try to connect God with Us with one of the most visible people, those that first come to mind, let's say myself here, you'll realize that I have way too many connections. So I'm probably not going to have the time to really engage with them. I'm not going to be able to give them the bandwidth and the depth of relationship that they need to really feel that they can be part of the community. So instead of that, how about we connect them with someone else like Goa here, who has maybe a few other connections in the community. So they probably have a good overview of what's going on, or a little bit more context, but they're not that active yet. So you can start to do these things. And as well, you can see, for example, that there is this big cluster here and this big other cluster here. And most of the information flow between these two is actually passing through me. So if I was going to take a holiday, these two teams are going to struggle coordinating between them, or that coordination is probably going to cease. So we would need to find other bridges or other people like, for example, Goa or here, Zephyr, who are bridging these two clusters and empower them a little bit more to make sure that the information flow, the coordination continues throughout those teams, even if I'm not there. Then based on that, then we can segment members, who's active, who's newly active, who's consistently active, who are vital members, who are really at the core of the tissue of the community, who's disengaging. We can see these across time. So if there is a community manager, let's say, for example, a member disengaged, and they used to be consistently active, and then they stop engaging. So we have these 3 people, and it's like, oh, I wonder what happened to them. They were consistently active, they're no longer. We should probably reach out to them and ask them for some feedback, or maybe invite them to participate. So now we're building an automation that when someone disengages, depending on different roles, we can send them a personalized message that might be a feedback form, an invitation, like the link, let's say a Meet with Wallet link for the community manager, or with someone that can serve as a point of contact. So if they want to engage, if they needed some support or some help, etc., they can do so that way. In the future, if the HiveMind proposal that we have, that it's a Q&A bot that uses the community knowledge, could also be connected. So when someone disengages, they get a prompt saying, hey, if you needed any support, and I'm HiveMind, I have all the community knowledge, I can help you find your way around and figure out how to participate in governance. Or how about you tell us what you are working on in the Shield channel? Or anyway, each community could figure out their own interactions. And then based on these, we can also then start to calculate health metrics for the community, whether it's too fragmented or too enmeshed, too centralized, more decentralized, etc. And then based on this infrastructure, then we can start to dream and invent other businesses, like calculate reputation scores for participation in governance. So we can know, thanks to this graph, who has a really good overview of what's happening in the community, who's representative of a sub-community that should really be represented, etc. We could also do skill matching based on if someone is having a lot of conversations in a community that is all about design, they probably know a thing or two about design, etc. So we could also do talent matchmaking, and it could expand to other things that ideally would spin out as separate units. So as mentioned, I'm going to have to leave you. I'm late for a meeting, but thanks a lot for listening, and good to meet you. I'll leave you here with Chris and Artem. Artem that can show you as well Harmonica. That's a super cool tool. And yeah, then maybe with Chris as well, if there is anything, you know where to find me. I'll be in the chat. See you very soon.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
Presentation. So
presentation. There you go.
do you guys want to see Harmonica?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I saw that Felix and Peter joined the server. I don't know about Tommy. Chris is already there.
Yep.
And Fly and Tivo, what about you guys? So basically 2 out of 5 joined the server so far. Yes.
It's joining now.
Okay.
Yeah, just gonna listen.
Okay, 4 out of 5. So you can go to public test channel. I can try to tag you there, but hopefully it's not too difficult to find it. Felix.
Do you want me to share screen, Artem?
Sure, yes. My internet connection is very weak, so yes, I wouldn't want to share my screen too.
Yeah, just to say, Artem is in the wilds of northern India at the moment, so bear with us.
Well,
Nice.
yes, I'm in Himalayas right now.
Wait,
Not wild, but with bad Wi-Fi.
Let me dream. Let me dream.
All right, so you are in public test channel. So
Mhm.
right
Yes.
now I can just type /ask and any question that we want to deliberate on. For instance, how do we govern singularity, right? Or something like that. Or maybe what are the main challenges? What are the main, who did that? What are the main, please don't create the session just yet. What are the main challenges for govern singularity, SingularityNET
Huh?
governance? So I don't know who created the first session, and
Was me. Maybe I was too fast. Sorry.
has anyone pressed the join button?
Yeah,
Because
some.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, so something is going on in your DMs already, yeah?
Exactly.
So what was the question?
At the one you asked. How do we govern SingularityNET?
Mm-hmm. Okay, then I can just join the session as well.
So we're all going to reply with our thoughts on that question, right?
Yeah, so now everyone who pressed the join button can talk to Harmonica in DMs, and you can use as many messages as you want, as many, you can talk to Harmonica like in any way, sorry, like however you want, and all of that will be sent to OpenAI and synthesized. And then Harmonica will share something like a summary, and yes, so we'll see how it goes.
And you just press return at the end of your thinking.
Or is it using the commands again?
No,
No, if you go to, yeah.
by the way, we are looking at host's screen right now, so it looks different from what other people see. And I think Felix, as a host, you should just wait until. Actually, you can just answer your own question. Yeah.
So, but
Just,
via command? Or just a simple
no,
message?
so like, you have a community and you have a server, and then there you can use the commands to start the session or change the Harmonica. You just
Go back to server and see what others have
answer the
written.
questions.
That's very cool.
Right. So what it's done is yeah, it's taken what we said and started to build consensus positions, which it thinks could be agreed upon by everybody.
Okay, so the private chat in here, so everything what gets posted here from the participants get reposted in this channel then here. Or vice versa.
Yes. So the everybody's comment and also the proposed consensus positions from Harmonica get reposted back into the chat.
Yes, and the session hasn't ended with the first summary, right? So the bot continues to listen to what people say. To do with the next version is for bot to be able to have separate dialogues with everyone. So based on what you wrote, but also what others wrote, the bot will ask you specific questions, and like everyone would get different questions from the bot. And that would allow us to also kind of cross-pollinate. So like we could build on top of each other's ideas, or build upon them, or comment on them, or criticize them without actually talking or arguing with each other directly. And that's the main, maybe one of the main ideas behind Harmonic, is that by using language model to mediate the conversation, we make the conversation more productive and with less conflict and with higher engagement, because a lot of people, for a lot of people, it would be easier to talk to the bot rather than write comments on a forum.
And we think that there's a lot of growth potential in this, in being able to propose different decision-making frameworks. So if we would be able to, if people liked the proposals that we were suggesting, they might be able to ask for a vote module to be dropped into the Discord channel, which we could provide, incorporating whichever proposals they've perhaps emojied into the vote. And further down the line, think about different types of decision. Obviously, this is a very generic or open question, but there might be more technical questions, there might be more legal questions, there might be more people-orientated questions. I don't know. There might be contexts that require some degree of specialization, and so we're thinking about ways in which we might be able to provide the model with the ability to facilitate decisions that are more specialized.
The input from individuals is anonymized, right?
Yes, we can make it anonymous. It will be one of the settings, one of the things in the settings that you can choose, you can change as a host. And also, I think maybe I should add that currently we're using a very basic prompt. And going forward, we are planning to implement different facilitation templates or techniques that will enable communities to address specific situations or problems, because deliberation or decision making it's very different. It can be very different depending on the do you want to make a decision on funds allocation, or do you want to decide on how to elect or appoint someone, right? So those we could offer different templates or techniques for different use cases.
And it's really cool stuff. One question, I assume in the backend you go with question and answer pairs, right?
Sorry, could you please repeat that question?
Because you use OpenAI API, like you said. So in the background, I assume you use question answer pairs, right?
Question answer pairs.
Like, for example, you have one question and then you get a question as input and answer as output. How do you weight them? Does this work with emojis?
I guess that's something we still need to explore. Right now, we just use a very basic prompt, and everything happens, in the same yeah, everything is being added to the same context window. We don't have like user 1, user 2, user 3 right now. And I
Yeah,
think
there's no waiting. There's no waiting at the moment.
No waiting. That's something, by the way, this is a feature that was requested by some of the users that I've talked to.
Yeah.
Or customers. Yes, and also we understand that adding everything to the same context window will lead to a lot of hallucinations. So we are planning to use local knowledge graphs and long chain to make this much more stable and deterministic.
Nice. One thing what could help you there, we built, let me go over there quickly. Not admin anymore. Let me go here. We built our own LLM as well, where called Mesh AI. It was a funded proposal from the last funding round as well. It's fully open sourced, or most of it for open source. And what we do there is it still? Oh no, we took it off. Fuck. Yeah, because my Discord account got hacked last week, which led to quite some mess up. But actually, what we're doing there is we built a solution for the waiting process, what works simply with emojis. So you can train it directly on Discord as well, or ask questions. And then you simply react with emojis, and the LLM understands, like thumbs up says, oh, okay, good answer on the question, thumbs down means bad answer on the question. And like this, we're able to train the thing, which is actually quite nice, because this allows that you have this human reinforced learning process open to the community. So the community themselves can decide what is good or bad output from your LLM. And we use also OpenAI API and Google API on this weekend.
This is great, because we also wanted to have emoji reactions in DMs, so that based on those reactions, the bot, the Harmonica, will understand if consensus is reached already or not yet. Because basically it will be sharing like summaries or potential consensus points with everyone, and if they react with thumbs up, then the bot can understand that yes, maybe this could be like a good proposal to share with everyone. So I think if yes, we could discuss this later, and maybe we could just use this in Harmonica. I don't know if it's open source or not, but yeah, it could save us some time. Chris?
Sorry, I was going to say, I really like that. It's a way of calibrating the consensus before you arrive at, well, I was going to say before you arrive at a poll, but maybe it can help you avoid a poll, and that's even better.
Our LLM, it's most of it, it's open source. I put a link in the live chat, so have a look on it already. If you find helpful stuff for your solution, then even better.
Instant collaboration. Thank you very much.
This is amazing. Thank you, guys.
And the developer who built it, he's like a insane machine. He has 15 years of AI, ML experience. He's currently doing his master on neuroscience as well, and goes a lot with, brain interfaces and whatnot. So if you have questions on this, I can directly connect you to him. He can give you some good insights there.
Yeah, I'm looking for developers right now, so yeah, it could be very helpful.
Hey, Felix, I don't know if it's something new since you restarted Mesh AI, but I noticed that it started giving emojis. It gave a thumbs up emoji in 2 places that I picked up on. Is that normal?
Then it's active and reading messages. Yeah, is it then? Let me check on the SingularityNET Discord, I assume. Do we still have it active to test and train? I don't think so, right?
No, it's just happening in random channels.
And yeah,
I think we have to reset it after the hack last week. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. It was like appropriate thumbs up in the message.
Exactly. It's because how it's built, it's reading, like how we build it is as a bot. We didn't want it to add our own interface, so we said, oh, okay, let's use the Discord interface in this regard as front end. And you can add it to specific channels. It's by default plugged into all public channels, not on private channels. And it's reading the chats there, the messages. And the main idea is to train the LLM via live conversations on Discord. You see like boards, can't see an active here. Yeah, there he is. Okay, yeah, I don't have the. Why is it not showing the? Yeah, don't have the permissions. Maybe. Yeah, we need to reset the permissions. Demonics, we need to.
If you do me what's needed, I can do it.
But to come back at general on the stuff, like everything what you presented, it is really awesome stuff. And I think you have some really, really good things in place already. Some stuff we have also in place, like we have a treasury system running as well. We use DWalk right now to manage tasks and bounties. So all the guilds, all the workgroups usually track the engagements via tasks. And you said already that, for example, for the Together crew, you have CSV, the option to upload CSVs into the craft file.
Yeah.
This is something so awesome. I would love to play around with, actually.
Yeah, I mean, some of the sounds like some of the kind of more practical stuff that you're talking about, the plug into DWork and the treasury management and mesh, the mesh AI. I think it's quite a nice symbiosis because we don't have that. We kind of skipped ahead and gone straight to the kind of the research led sort of stuff that we thought was out there a little bit. So we're still scrabbling around, manually trying to assign ourselves tasks and do that kind of stuff. So it sounds like there's a very symbiosis. Like yeah, we've tried to head for the difficult questions and see what we can answer, and we only really scratched the surface with them. And I think they could be massively enhanced with some of the things that you've just literally just given us a sneak peek of.
Because I think one really beautiful synergy is from our side, we don't do a lot of research. We simply build stuff because we have no time for research and no capacity there. And you do a lot of research. So I think that we can really find the beautiful common ground as well.
That's exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think we do tend to go for reach for the cloud a little bit, and we need to have our feet pulled back down to the ground, I think, sometimes. But I think the combination is good, and I don't know how far in terms we're very keen that, as Daniel was saying, that we try and allow the teams to be as self-sufficient as they can be. We're working with obviously grant applications and any kind of investment that we can look at, but ultimately we do try and we need to get these people to be compensated for putting the effort into what they're doing, and that's the area that we're trying to focus more on now, because we've done a lot of dreaming of some building, and if we're not careful, we'll run out of road, and that's so we're kind of thinking hard about that end at the moment. Hence us meeting in some grant proposals, etc. So that's all well and good, and hopefully we can turn that into a sustainable track laying solution. But we're keen to make sure that having reached for the stars a little bit, that we come back down to earth and make sure that we can sustain the teams.
I'm curious, do you see any opportunities in terms of future grant applications to develop a joint collaboration like the grant is, to see how to kind of synergize between this research and kind of grassroots on the ground stuff?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, it's the funny thing about Web3 grant applications is they're not exactly like a typical non-profit grant. They don't just give you the money and you get on and do what you wanted to do. You always have to you always have to tailor what you're doing to what they want, right? It's a grant in name, but actually they're basically a client. And so yeah, and I think that's kind of good for us. Like, you know, it helps us tailor what we're doing to what people are asking for, and that gives us kind of some, you know, that kind of client feedback concept, which is definitely what we need. We need people using these tools, and we need the tools to have their own momentum and life, more than just what we can push from the developer side.
Yeah, it's very interesting, the potential to develop these feedback loops between two organizations such as these. Nice.
But I mean, I think also, I mean, maybe inside your question was the concept of collaboration. I don't think there's, because we've been quite busy developing and thinking, we haven't done too much of that before, but it's by no means to say that we don't want to, or would be against it, or wouldn't consider it, or couldn't do it. Absolutely we would do. And if it helps us to make a better product, to think people ahead of where people are now, to get ahead of where the current design scope is, and to win the grant so that all the teams can be more sustainable, then absolutely. I mean, in an ideal world, I would love everybody who's trying to build a better and more decentralized future of work to know each other and to be working together, and not to be, you know, duplicating effort, and to be finishing each other's sentences a bit better, because I think there's a lot of people in this space, and I just think we've maybe all been in our bunkers a little bit, and I think we maybe all need to come out and just we had an open day like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where we did basically just a demo day. We did all of what you've seen today, and more. So we showed all the tools, etc. And, you know, it just amazed me that we hadn't done it in ever, or in a really long time. And the reaction was really positive, obviously, because it's some great thinking, it's some good work. And then come the opportunities. Oh, I saw that, and could we maybe bend it to do this? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, why not? So I think we're just literally coming out of our shell a little bit, and I think looking forward to seeing who we can partner with and what can be done with what we're doing.
This note, and also we are coming close to the end of the call, and we have to have a hard stop because we have another call directly following up. What I would love to do is introducing each other already over the next coming weeks into each other's tools. Like, I directly see some synergy already between Harmonica and Mesh AI, and between Together Crew and the Treasury system. I think there are a lot of synergies. Ideally see, okay, what could be most elegant next steps for collaborations there? And maybe start already quite early to plan some joint proposals for our next deep funding round, which might happen by maybe, if we have luck, end of November, something like this year. And the best outcome, I think, would be a win-win situation where we have code from both sides, ideas from both sides joining each other, and technological solutions and collaborations would benefit both sides then.
I love that idea, and I would love to have the early conversations around, you know, back-end compatibilities and you know, some of the, let's get some of the admin out of the way so that we can let the teams think and work together, because you're right, but responding when we hit a deadline is too late. You know, we need to have a degree of alignment before we make a proposal, rather than kind of, you know, the typical thing where you propose first and then worry about how you deliver afterwards, right? That's kind of a dangerous thing, but in a collaboration.
Awesome. This is so cool. This is so good stuff. And just, I really love how you think, your vision, how you see things. I just feel like home with you.
Oh, good.
I think
That's a lovely thing to say. you know, and look, meeting you guys, I'd love to, you know, you gave us a tiny glimpse. I'd love to see more. I don't think I've got time to say more, but it's been great to meet you all.
Awesome. Let's definitely stay in touch then with each other. Maybe even setting up or using one of the Discord channels on the SingularityNET Discord as well to communicate and coordinate.
Perfect. That would be great.
Sounds good.
Yeah, good stuff.
Awesome.
Pleasure,
Then,
pleasure to meet you guys.
likewise, you're angels. I'm so happy that you exist. Thanks a lot
Likewise.
for taking the time. Thanks a lot for what you do, and especially thanks a lot also for how you do what you do. I
Can't wait to see more. All right. Let's speak more.
Okay. See you.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Ciao, ciao.